What's up everybody, Luke here from lukeslooksmaxlab.com. Today we're going to be discussing my MSE procedures that I've had done. I've had two MSE procedures done. The first one was 36 turns, the second one was 71 turns. Both of the MSEs were successful. The reason I stopped at turn that I stopped at on each one was because the screws felt unstable on the last turn, or last set of turns. Forget exactly how many turns I was doing at the end of there. I think I was doing 2 turns a day, so it was probably on that last one turn. Yeah, that's what it was. So for the first device, I started with about 2 turns a day, and I immediately noticed a diastema within the first couple of days, and I got the split pretty simple. Had cortipuncture with a dental drill, so normal cortipuncture with that MSE treatment. Probably had, I'm not exactly sure how many cortipuncture holes I had. It was somewhere between 5 and 15. I'm sorry, this was about a year ago, so I'm not entirely sure. The next thing that ended up happening in the process was I got to the 36th turn of that first MSE. The screws felt unstable, so I left it in for a couple of months. The amount of time that I left the MSE in was not enough time for the bone to heal in between and fill in the suture. So the suture was still open when I ended up installing my second MSE, but I think that the bone had kind of solidified its position. So when I took the MSE out and then had that next MSE installed, there was no bone movement really back, so I didn't have any relapse in between that time, because the first MSE was uninstalled on the same day that the second MSE was installed. Continuing on with my second MSE, I did a similar first sort of turn schedule. My schedule for my first MSE and my second MSE were pretty similar starting off. The first one I did 4 turns a day, and I did 2 turns in the morning, 2 turns at night. I did that for the first 4 to 5 days, and then I continued on with 2 turns a day. So the entire expansion process for the first MSE was under 1 month. And like I said, after that, the expander was left in for a few months afterwards. The first device I had installed used all 13mm screws. So I had 4 13s in. And the second device I had installed had 4 13s and 2 11mm screws. The second device I had installed was a modified MSE, so that's why I had 6 screws on my second device. And for people that don't really understand how MSE works, briefly, there are TADs that are screwed into the maxilla in the top of the mouth through the guide holes pretty much for the MSE. And then the MSE will expand the bone and it will split the suture. This process does not always keep the expansion symmetrical because one side is usually stronger than the other side. So one side usually will get pushed out a little bit more than the other side. Just what ends up happening with these MSE cases. My case had a similar effect, and there isn't really a way to avoid it. You just need to have a surgery plan in place for after MSE. Thankfully, I do have a surgery plan in place, but other patients don't have a surgery plan and they just got the MSE for functional issues, but then they realize that they look a lot different after. It's kind of hard to accept that for some people, and it kind of sucks. That's going to be something that people are going to be talking about more, I feel like, in the up and coming, like, just more recent. What am I saying, bro? I'm tripping. So I feel like this is something that people are going to be talking about more, and it's going to be an issue that people are having more. Well, it's an issue that everyone has had, but it hasn't really been talked about because it's very subtle. So it's a very subtle thing, so people don't really notice, and it takes a while for the word to kind of spread about it. The MSE asymmetry thing is an issue. You know, people talk about it all the time. Yeah, duh, it's an issue. One side's going to be stronger. It's going to come out asymmetrical, bro. Like, it's going to mess up the nose. You're literally expanding here. Like, the nose is right in the middle there, bro. Like, something's going to get messed up. So more likely than not, if you get an MSE, you're going to need another surgery after if you're concerned about your looks. Anyways, moving on. With my next device, I did pretty much the same thing for the starting point, and then I did 2 turns a day. But I ended up ending off at 71 So this device had more turns because it wasn't in charge of splitting the suture. The suture was already split, so the device didn't have to do that much work. Spread a lot more than before, but the mechanics of how the MSE worked to expand the face, it wasn't able to expand all the way, and it was just a mechanical limitation. But it's not a bad thing because I'm not sure if I even needed all of that expansion. Luckily, the surgery plan that I have set up now will correct all of the issues that I have, so I'm thankful for that. So none of the issues that I had were functional. All of them were issues that I had with the way I look. In terms of function, the improvement's been huge. My improvement for looks was not an improvement really. It was kind of, I did improve in some ways, but I had there were some drawbacks too. So it wasn't really an improvement for looks, it was kind of a flat line. But combined with the surgeries afterwards, it will help make my splanchar cranium have more volume. It's kind of a small step back for a bigger step forward. In terms of my mouth and stuff, I do have a lot more width and I have a lot more room for my tongue, which is definitely more satisfactory because it was harder to have a resting posture because I didn't have as much room in my mouth. But now I do have a lot more volume, oral volume, so it's easier to have correct posture, which in turn helps you look better. So when I have correct posture now, I look better from certain angles than I did before. You know, certain angles before are going to look better than others. We made some slight changes and we'll make a bigger improvement later. So if you think that MSE is going to make you look better and that's the only reason you feel like getting it, I don't think you should get it for that reason. If you have a big functional issue and you know that it's gonna maybe change the way you look, but you don't really know, you know, you might want to get it, you might not. Definitely talk to some people about it. People that I think MSE is good for, people that are extremely narrow, people that have a surgery plan set up afterwards and don't think that MSE is going to just 100% change their life and the way they look. Really, it's just people that need more width in the mid-face. So if you have a very narrow face, but you need to keep in mind that ES ratios will be affected, you know, certain ratios will be affected. My IPD actually did increase by 1 millimeter or so. Not exactly sure, it didn't really measure it that much because it wasn't like an area of concern, so I wasn't paying too much attention to it. But yeah, that is something that happened. I think one side of my mid-face got pushed forward slightly, because if you think about it, the device is turned like this. So say the device is installed like this, and this is the top of your mouth. The device will tend to twist. And I've seen mixed opinions, people saying that they think that the molar bands are going to help the device not twist, and they think that it helps reduce asymmetry. Other people saying that the molar bands don't even reduce asymmetry at all. I don't really know. I don't know what the best solution is to reduce the device from twisting, but if you do a modified MSE and you have more screws on each side, mechanically that should prevent the device from twisting. And also it should prevent some asymmetry in terms of the device literally like pushing forward one side of the midface. But since one side of my midface did get pushed forward, that actually brings up some kind of ideas about what can be done with MSE and what kind of other devices can be created. Because there might be some kind of device that involves distraction that can actually move the midface forward. I'm not going to be the person that develops that device. I can probably figure it out if I wanted to. So maybe if I have some free time, I might think about something like that. But if anyone is into fabrication, into mechanical sort of things like that and wants to create something, I guess think about it. But I don't know. I don't really know because I don't think this is really possible. So I'm not going to focus on it 100%. But I think more development in that field is going to be helpful. I think people are going to start doing some different things and it's going to be pretty interesting. But anyway, I'm pretty positive that one side of my midface did get pushed forward at least 1 millimeter and the device wasn't even being pulled on forward. So I don't know, you know, the sutures are all loosened up. This pulling motion, pulling on an MSE, a lot of people, I don't know. You know, a lot of people, I don't know if that would be the solution for them. But anyway, that's my answer. I don't know if MSE is going to make you good looking. How does MSE affect facial depth? Take the concepts that I've already discussed in this video and apply them here. We can obviously tell that facial depth is going to be, so MSE, we can tell that MSE is going to be a detriment to your facial depth. If you have below average facial depth, it's going to make your facial depth worse. The reason it makes it worse is because we're widening the front area. So the front area is literally getting widened here. Your face is becoming more shallow the more the MSE expands wider and wider, because this side of your face, all this is coming out. This is getting flatter. We're taking the top and it's coming down, and the base is getting wider. So MSE, bad for your facial depth. That's another reason why MSE might be bad for your looks. You know, 9 times out of 10, probably 99 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, I mean, you're going to need some kind of surgery plan if you plan on improving your looks from where you are now and you want to get an MSE in between where you are now and where you want to be in the future. Because you might need to get more surgery after. You definitely will. You definitely will if you're planning on improving your looks. Just know that. It's going to at least be a rhino. So yeah, in terms of like mewing, I've already talked about like the posture thing, but I'm just going to say it in this way. Mewing is going to be easier after. So it's going to be easier to mew afterwards. If you didn't pick that up already from what I explained earlier, you're going to be able to hold your posture correctly and easier after MSE. Your teeth, you're going to need a complex orthodontic plan as well. This entire process will probably last you over a year. So if you plan on starting this, you are going to have stuff in your mouth for over a year. You know, you're going to have stuff in the mouth in your mouth probably for the rest of your life if you do this, you know, or a good amount of time. It's going to be a couple of years with stuff in your mouth that's going to be bothering you for at least 2 years. Okay, no, it's not going to be at least 2 years. It'll probably be at least 6 months if you're at an orthodontist. But the thing is, the orthodontist is gonna have some ortho stuff for hella long. That orthodontic treatment, usually orthodontic treatment's gonna take longer than a year, bro. Like, just because of how these orthodontists work, they're not quick. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute to get this done, okay? So you really need to think about this entire process here. I wish someone kind of told me this beforehand, because, you know, I'm glad that I did what I've done so far, because it's been a good learning experience. I've had functional improvements. I've had good improvements. I haven't had any real detriment to my looks, big detriment. It hasn't been a huge thing. So, you know, we're going to keep cruising along, and then as soon as we can get that next surgery, that will keep us going. So, anyways, I'm going to end off this video about my MSE treatment. I've pretty much covered everything I needed to cover in this MSE video. If you have any questions or comments, leave it in the description below. And I'm going to make another video about MSE, so in that video, I'll be replying to all the actual good, insightful comments. So if you have anything you want to ask me, go ahead and leave it down in the comments below, and then I'll make a follow-up video on MSE soon. But yeah, thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the comments and stuff, so leave a comment in the description. So just thanks for supporting and watching the channel, for real. I really appreciate it. And, you know, if you need any good Looksmax related surgery content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, all that stuff. My website is also in the description. If you're interested in booking a consult with me, you can go ahead and do that there. Or if you have any other questions, send me an email and I'll get back to you. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. All the info's in the description. Peace out.